That's correct. 3 signs were given. 1 sign is left because the first 2 signs have been fulfilled. That's the first time I've ever said that. But I can say that now with 100% certainty that the second sign has been fulfilled. We knew the first sign had been fulfilled, but I now know the second sign has been fulfilled. And I'll tell you the whole story about that when I do a video on that on this Wednesday. This is Monday, the 18th. That video will be on Wednesday, November 20th, which happens to be my birthday. I didn't do it for that reason. It just worked out that way. But we're in the middle of the series. I don't want to get ahead of myself. I want the people who are watching this series trying to catch up with what we have learned on this channel over the last 3.5 years to understand the importance of those signs before I reveal the second fulfillment. Wednesday's video, which will be entitled "The Second Sign Has Been Fulfilled," is one of the most important videos in the history of this channel. We've had some very important videos, none more important than what is coming on Wednesday. But let's get the new folks caught up. Yes, the Lord said there will be signs. So let's read those important passages that the church is ignoring because they have pushed his teaching aside, including the signs that he gave us. So we'll know. Oh my goodness, it's unbelievable to witness what is going on in the church over this. And there will be signs, he says, in sun and moon and stars. I'm using the ESV version because they're the most correct. There are other versions that are equally correct. There are some versions that aren't quite correct. We'll come back to this and I'll explain. And there will be signs in sun and moon and stars. Now I'm going to switch to the New King James Version because I think it's more correct. And there are other versions that are the same, equally as correct. And on the earth, distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. That's the second sign. Here comes the third. And I'll stick with the New King James Version, and then I'll also show you the English Standard Version of the third sign. Men's hearts failing them from fear and the expectation of those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Let's jump quickly to the ESV, slightly different. People fainting, not their hearts failing, but people fainting with fear and with foreboding of what is coming on the world, for the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Those are the 3 signs. Let's go over them quickly so you'll understand. Sign 1, and there will be signs in sun and moon and stars. Do you notice there's no definite article, the? It's not there will be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars. There's no definite article. It's not a big deal. The definite article is or isn't included in your translation, but it's just that when the Lord utters prophecy or the Holy Spirit utters prophecy in other portions of the New Testament, it's important that we stick to the Greek text and not add stuff that we think should or shouldn't be there, even if it's just the definite article, the. And so the English Standard Version stays true to that. There is no definite article. There will be signs in sun, moon, and stars. If you're a regular viewer to this channel, then you know that's been fulfilled. The Revelation 12 sign given in 2017, September of 2017, it began forming in November the year before in 2016. Now, I'm not going to go over the Revelation 12 sign to the new viewers. You can find videos that will show you this amazing, heavenly, cosmic display that was a replication of what John saw at the beginning of Revelation 12. A woman clothed with the sun, 12 stars above her head, in great travail giving birth, and the moon at her feet. That played out in the heavens, if you're unaware of it, in 2017. The church wasn't paying attention to it, but it was spectacular. Those of us who were paying attention to Christian alternative media, thanks to Scott Clark and several other people who showed us that this was forming and going to finalize on September 23rd of 2017 when the moon finally came up by her feet. Spectacular sign. The problem was nobody understood what it meant. Not Scott Clark, not anybody, including my little unknown self. I didn't understand it. Most people thought, hey, the rapture is going to happen on September 23rd. No, that's not why the sign was given. The sign was given to fulfill, first of all, this prophecy by the Lord, and secondly, to point us to the fact that war in heaven is coming. The problem there was nobody cared about or knew about war in heaven because they were listening to the church who was not listening to the Lord. You should go find some of those videos that show you what happened. Understand this, when you watch those videos, the woman or man, the guy or the gal that is hosting that video has no clue what it meant. But at least they knew something special was happening. So don't listen to their eschatology. Their eschatology stinks. They didn't know what it meant. A lot of those videos have been taken down because the person who posted them included that they thought the rapture was going to happen on September 23rd, and when it didn't, they're embarrassed and they took down their video. But there are still videos up of the Revelation 12 sign. You can go to this site, rev12daily.blogspot.com. If you want to see how that sign was fulfilled, take the time and track down videos on the Revelation 12 sign, a spectacular fulfillment of that prophecy. Now, the second sign comes in two flavors. And on the earth, distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. That's a good representation from the New King James Version of what the Greek is saying. Some translators add the word because, and on the earth distress of nations with perplexity, because the sea and the waves are roaring. Because is not there in the Greek. They add it because they think it's appropriate. Stop adding stuff that isn't there in the Greek. Just tell us what the Lord said, and we'll figure it out from there. The King James Version, this is the appropriate way of reading the verse. And our problem here on this channel has always been, okay, are the nations distressed and perplexed because something is happening with the oceans? Or is this a metaphorical term, the sea and the waves roaring? It's used that way in the Old Testament on occasion to discuss about the Gentile nations. Here in Isaiah 17, it's used that way. Now, Isaiah is not talking about the second sign that the Lord is talking about at the Olivet Discourse. He's talking about a different incident involving Damascus. But nonetheless, you'll see how very similar the metaphor is here. Ah, the thunder of many peoples, they thunder like the thundering of the sea. Ah, the roar of nations, they roar like the roaring of mighty waters. The nations roar like the roaring of many waters, but he will rebuke them and they will flee far away. And so we've always wondered, is it a literal statement that there's something going on in the oceans and that's why the nations are distressed? Or is he saying the nations are distressed about something and they are like the sea and the waves during a tempest? They're confused, they're upset, they're perplexed over something. And that word with perplexity, that's a word that is only used one time, and it's used here, and it means perplexity, confusion, state of being at a loss. Well, I can tell you with certainty now it was metaphorical. And on Wednesday, we're going to tell you exactly what the fulfillment of that sign was. It has been fulfilled. The third sign, people fainting with fear and foreboding of what is coming on the world, for the powers of the heavens will be shaken, or men's hearts failing, because once again, that Greek word is only used here And it can mean faint, to lose heart, to expire. It could mean anything from just fainting to being completely dismayed about something to dying. But we're not sure because it's the only use of that word in the Bible. We can't look at other verses and get a better idea of what was meant here. But I can tell you this, it's not good. It's not good. And we know at the sixth seal, people are panicking. And I think that's what is happening here with this word, because it's the same event. He's talking about the same event. This sign will be given on that day. The reason they're fainting or dying or running and panicking is because they're seeing what is coming on the earth. The other versions, this is only stated here in Luke, in the other versions, we see what it means. The stars of heaven are falling to earth. The angels are being cast down. War in heaven has concluded, and the losers are being cast to earth. And the earth, the population of earth, has never seen anything like this. And they are in a panic. But we are told, when you see all these things, when you see all these signs begin to take place, don't panic. Straighten up. Lift up your heads. Your redemption has drawn near. He is about to show up. This is the moment for those of us that are watching to know it's here. The day has arrived. Our Lord is about to show up on a cloud with great power and glory, and he's about to send his angels out to gather us. But I could go into any church in this country and probably anywhere in the world and say, the Lord gave us signs before his coming, and show them this passage right here. There will be signs in sun and moon and stars, and show them how it was be fulfilled, and then show them this sign and tell them how it was fulfilled. And they would just stare at me. What in the world is this man talking about? Because the church doesn't teach it. They're clueless. They were clueless when the Revelation 12 sign was fulfilled. They were clueless when this sign was fulfilled. And on that day, when the third sign is revealed, they will be running, panicking, passing out, keeling over, just like the pagans, because they are not prepared. Finally, I want to show you this. This would be under the heading, there are no coincidences in the Bible. Let's go to where Paul is talking about this day to the Thessalonians. And he says, on that day, sudden destruction will come upon them. He's talking about the world. Will come upon them as labor pains come upon a pregnant woman, and they will not escape. There's no hope for the world on that day. He is coming. Great destruction is coming, and he's not taking them to safety. Now, that word escape, not a coincidence. That is the exact same Greek word that the Lord is telling his followers at the Olivet Discourse about that day. He says this, but stay awake at all times, praying that you may have strength to escape all these things that are going to take place and to stand before the Son of Man. He is telling us, you, however, are not like the world. It's going to come upon them as a trap and a snare. It doesn't have to be that way for you. If you'll pay attention to me and watch in all seasons and pray that you'll have strength to escape these things that are about to take place. Because it's going to be a day unlike anything you've ever seen before. And the church is doing an impression right now of the world. They have said, we want to have the same judgment and outcome on that day that the world is going to get, because we are not watching. We are not paying any attention to the prayer the Lord told us to make going into that day. We are not paying attention to the instructions that he has given us for that day. We are just like the world. We are clueless. He is telling us it doesn't have to be that way for you, but it's not automatic that you're going. Even his followers needed to be paying attention and doing the things he said to do running up to that day and during that day. During that day, don't run. Straighten up. Lift up your heads. Your redemption draws near. Act like it, is what he's saying. Don't act like the pagans scrambling for their lives. Don't be going into your house to try and protect your possessions on that day. Give them up. Remember Lot's wife on that day. Do not miss Wednesday's video. If you're a regular viewer and you know some people that occasionally watch this video, tell them to watch on Wednesday. This series will continue with part 7. The second sign has been fulfilled. That is coming within 48 hours.